Nissan either doesn't release it anymore or it's just not readily available for the Midnight Purple 3. So I found the closest possible paint, which I shall call Midnight Purple 4. There's actually a little bit of teal in
It's
it.
your own spice now.
The whole car wasn't painted at the same time. I just buffed the rest of the body. It was like 2 or 3 years difference.
So well.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the #1 Drift Podcast on YouTube. I am Dawson.
Jackson. Saxon.
A little late there, buddy, but it's all good.
My apologies. I don't know.
All right, so a few announcements. Don't forget Wiring Specialties. If any of you guys are looking for a harness or anything like that, we have a 5% off code for you guys. It is simply just Circle of Drift. I actually run one of the harnesses myself on my Z. Doesn't yet run, but it did there for a little bit. And the harness worked great. It's fired up first try. So if any of you guys need one, go ahead and drop down the link in the description. That was pretty much it.
Wiring Specialties is good shit, man. I've got
I know.
cars running their stuff.
Oh yeah.
Me and Yuri had a beef one time, but we got it settled. So.
I just hate wiring, man. I can't do it.
It's the worst. I mean, it's tough. I have a screwdriver in my pocket that I'm gonna remove. So
you want to explain that one? Where the hell did that come from?
That is, I'm selling an IS 300 with a 1J, and
I've been seeing.
Yeah, I took it out, no exhaust, just to drive it, and that was for the TPS sensor. So
fair enough. We'll get into that here in a little bit, but don't forget to subscribe. It helps out tremendously for better content and stuff in the future. But don't forget to hit the like button as well, because that is the best way for me to know if you are enjoying the content. But without further ado, I'll let Jackson kind of give you the rundown on who he is.
Oh man, who am I? I'm pretty simple, man. I'm just a dude who likes cars, enjoys JDM culture, and
very JDM.
Yeah, man. I've always been quantity over quality. So we were. I mean, I grew up in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Super poor, really, and I like cars. Cars are a way to escape. And
what was your kind of like gateway into drifting? Or really just cars in general, since you came from Oklahoma?
Yeah, Oklahoma is F-bodies, Corvettes, and street racing, right? So I was big into street racing.
Street outlaws.
Yeah. I mean, that ended up getting big. But I wasn't actually big into drifting, and I actually, one of my first cars was a 3000 GT VR4. So twin turbo all-wheel drive, had 300,000 miles on it, and I basically just learned to tinker on that thing, and if you can work on that, quad cam, twin turbo. I mean, they're right up against the strut towers. It's difficult, and not much really room. Not a great power plant 6072, but if you can kind of learn on that, then other engines kind of make it a little bit simpler. And I have noticed that recently, because
for me, the LS thing, I personally don't think LSs are as simple as people make them out to be. I mean, it's twice the parts, it's twice everything.
Yeah, I think it's the Lego ability with LSs. The generations are stackable. And I'm not really an LS guy. I've had a couple of LS cars, but not necessarily my style. I think it's just you don't really have to think about it. Is what people like. Yeah, and you can see a car on the road that is driven by an old man with 20 kids, and that's LS powered. That one's 2-seater, and that one's got an old man in it, also LS powered. You know what I mean?
Quite literally on every curb.
For me, I wanted something. I like things that are more unique, but I started out with the 3000 GT, and it was a great car.
They're goofy looking. I've never quite liked the look of them.
Really, I like the style actually, and it like I said, that car was great. It had a lot of issues, and when I got it, it was like 300,000 miles. I got it for like $2,000. Yeah, and I mean 300 horsepower. I mean it was fun. The turbos are itty bitty,
tiny,
9B, just tiny, and I moved here to Tennessee, and I met my wife, and I had the VR4, and I had a BMW too, E36 at the time, and she was actually the one who introduced me into 240s.
No way.
Yeah, super crazy. She's owned like 18 240s.
Jesus,
like that, like a crazy.
I didn't know that.
RB swap 240s. Yeah, so she got me into S chassis, and we drove to Kentucky, picked up my first S chassis, KA powered, dual cam. It had like the JDM Sunrise spray paint on the valve cover, and drove it back. And I started to fall in love with that thing. I mean, it's simple, you know what I mean? Like I said, I work on it super easy. And then we were actually driving to Street Life Tour. Man, this is so long ago.
Street Life, yeah.
Yeah, Street Life Tour. So we're driving to Street Life Tour, and like a Celica GTS like pulls up next to us, and like driving, and you know, they're slow cars. Slow cars racing. Very. For those who have not, well, a lot of people have done slow car racing, but it's quite a bit more fun.
I think we've all been there one time or two.
Yeah, so we're like I'm racing the Celica, and then the car just dies. Like the motor seizes.
Oh.
And we're in the middle between, you know, Tennessee and Ohio.
What a shit show that caused.
Like Indianapolis area or something like that. So we died, you know, and pull over to the side of the road, and we're sitting there like, oh, what do we do?
What did you end up doing then?
So this is kind of crazy to think about. So a guy in an R33, which were nowhere near legal at that time, comes like driving up in front of us, and this is a black hatch. I had done like kooky tails, you know, just super simple stuff. And he comes driving up, and he gets out, and he's like, and we're just like, what?
Yeah. Like, what the fuck?
Sick, dude. You know, he gets out. And
nice
like,
to see you here, buddy.
Yeah. He's like, are you guys okay? And we're like, I mean, the car is broken. Like, the motor's seized. And he's like, oh, I live like 30 minutes from here.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my friend who will tow it to his house. And then, where are you guys heading? We're like, we're going to Street Life Tour. And he's like, I'm going to
no
Street
fucking
Life
way.
Tour.
You're not going to believe this.
Yeah. So, like, we load up in his car, and it's the first time I've ever been in an R33. And I think really anything RB powered at the time.
Was it the first time like seeing one in person?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Surreal. I mean, it was and it was super cool guy. He was in the military. He was in Okinawa, and he brought the car back. It was black, and he got a little wild, did like a crazy teal paint job.
Oh,
he had like color match wheels. So he had like some flavor on the car, you know what I mean? It was good, but it was a little pushing the line of like, kind of like, you know,
that's a little iffy there, buddy. I don't know.
Like the mesh.
You're pushing the rice, boys.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it's like 2000s Nope kind of style, you know. So I mean,
yeah.
But the guy was incredible, super nice guy. He drove us all the way to Street Life Tour. We were like, oh, we're hungry, you know what I mean? Like, oh, here, well, I'll take you. He took us to like a hotel, and then our friends ended up driving up, and we stopped at Zero Lift on the way back, which is really old, like place that it was like chop shop. They'd import motors and stuff like that. Yeah. And I wanted to RB, because the sound is of the utmost importance for me. Like the sound is
you have to, yeah.
You do. We stopped at Zero Lift. I got an RB20 transmission, you know, the whole thing. ECU.
What made you go 20, RB20?
I was poor.
Just money, yeah.
But back then, I mean, $1,200 is what we spent. Out the door, tax, everything, paperwork, compression test, all this stuff.
God, drove prices were that.
Oh man,
still.
Yeah, drove.
I even did my RB. My whole swap was $3,500. Like I stole it for when I got it. But
it's crazy, and stuff now is outrageous. But drove all the way back, and I swapped that engine, and that was kind of my first foray into, you know, swapping and switching things over. So I put that engine in my apartment garage. In my apartment garage, which was itty bitty. I had to jack the car all up to the ceiling, and I put it underneath. I put it on the subframe, and I put it on a creeper, and I literally like slid it underneath the car and then lifted it and bolted it up. And it worked. I mean,
you work with what you can.
Yeah. Did my first drift events in that car. You know, it was good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's since you have such an abundance of cars, let's run through your laundry list.
Oh my goodness. This might take the whole show, right?
I know. It's
yeah.
I swear you have a new one almost every fucking month that you're not just like having, but building.
I just look for stuff that interests me. And you know, like I said, we didn't really have a whole lot of money, and I had to try to figure out a way to get where I wanted to be without much resources. So buying and selling, like it's a lot easier to buy a cheap car and sell a cheap car. Yeah. So I'd buy like super cheap vehicles, $300, and just
what were like the golden ticket cars?
Well, my problem was I got to a point where I stopped selling.
Oh, What?
I would buy them and I would be like, I really like this.
You get too fucking attached to?
I get way too attached, and I would keep it. And it would be exactly that. And now I have 18.
Jesus.
Yeah, I have 18.
I mean, that's something to be proud of course.
Yeah. Now that is including my wife's vehicles, which, we consider.
Share.
Yeah. She has her own vehicles that she does her own things with, but, and then they have a car in Japan at Ibisu. Oh yeah, it makes noise.
Nah, you're good.
A car in Japan at Ibisu. Did it again.
It's a habit. You're good.
Yeah, and it includes the bike too, which I've had forever. So,
I guess how did you? It's just flipping cars is how you're obtaining all of these, and then just wanting to.
It was just
not
work.
Get rid of them.
A lot of my friends would go and they would be like, "Yeah, we're going out to the weekend. We're gonna party and we're gonna, and I would just be like, I would rather work and get stuff done. I'd rather.
That's always been my mindset. I like even now. Dude, I don't hang out with people. I'm always here, either doing stuff with the podcast or working with clients. So
yeah,
dude, I totally get that.
I mean, for me, it was what I enjoyed. So I don't want to get off topic here, but my wife likes to go to Florida because her family goes to Florida every year in vacation. And for me, it's turmoil. I'm sitting on the beach, beer in hand. It's every country music song. I should be happy, right? I should be so happy, but I'm not.
Dude, this is so true.
I'm literally sitting there like I could be getting this done. I could be getting this done.
All you're thinking about the entire time.
And yeah, it's hard for me to enjoy. So I like working, tinkering, you know what I mean? But you have to find the balance. You have relationships, so you gotta, spend time and whatnot. So but yeah, I bought a bunch, stopped selling them, and ended up here. So, and it's bad too, because I went through a phase last year where we sold five or six.
Damn.
Some of the better cars that I've had, and
but which ones you make the most off of?
I think.
Jeez, I mean, honestly, that's how any business owner operates. Like,
yeah, I mean, if
you're
I can diversify,
you got to reinvest it all.
Yeah, that's the thing is I would take my profit and then I would just put it in and build more. I mean, I think people think that I have a lot of money. And they look,
I'm sure.
They look
you
at
have
what
a lot of clean fucking cars.
And
so.
But they're honestly like, they're piles.
Yeah. I mean, if you go and ask almost any car person, especially in the drift community, their car is pretty much a pile of shit, but it looks good on the exterior.
That's my thing. So I can't afford the nicest edition of something. So I would buy something that's had a life already, right?
Yeah.
Quite a few lives already. And I would just make it the best possible version that I can for the least amount of money. And I did that over and over and over. And my cars aren't great quality. You know what I mean? I can't say that this one has 20,000 miles. I can't do that. You know what I mean? But having the
I'm sure some of them you don't even know what miles are on them.
Yeah. I mean, maybe cluster swap. Not by me, but maybe maybe cluster swap. You never know. But yeah, so I think I did a little list, right? Where I like listed out all the cars. And I haven't added it to it for a bit. It did, and it's tough to remember. And I'm sure there are a bunch more people that have had way more cars than I have, nicer stuff, you know. But 68, I think, is where I'm at currently.
From what age? What age did you start buying cars?
So we were big into dirt bikes. So we did dirt bikes when I was real young. My brother, incredible rider, amazing guy. He was the one who always tinkered. He would literally like take bicycles and make different bicycles out of them, all the parts, you know what I mean? And
I used to do that with BMX bikes.
Yeah, I mean, he's super intelligent and amazing with his hands. He create, and he always had the cars. You know, he's 4 or 5 years older than me, and he always had the cool cars. You know what I mean? And so I got to ride with him, and then he got into turbo swapping Hondas and stuff like that.
Gave you the itch.
Yeah,
from
exactly.
there on out.
I'm like, dude, this is great. And yeah, so then I kind of caught that bug too, and I got the VR4, and then did a whole bunch of street racing. The car wasn't fast, but at the time, in 2003, whenever G35s are brand new, and you race one, and you're like, I beat him by a fender, like it's the fastest car ever. You know
I thought a VR6 Jetta was fast.
Yeah, I mean, like
I was 16,
and you just kind of evolve, and I got the A90 now, and that thing it's a machine. I mean, it's fast. And
well, speaking of that, what do you think of TJ Hunt's A90 build?
I am not caught up on that.
Really?
I don't watch a lot of
stuff. Yeah, I
figured,
but okay, so basically he's doing it's a full-on super build, so it's fully caged, carbon fiber kit, even the roof is carbon.
Goodness. Well, he does Street Hunter, right? Looks like he owns Street Hunter.
Yeah. So it's a carbon fiber Street Hunter kit, but he's doing full power plant. He bought a manual so that he could be able to still shift when they came out. So he spit a pretty penny on it, but
wow.
He's doing a full-on drift build with that to kind of prove that that's the next chassis, basically.
And I really think it is. I mean, it's a BMW.
Yeah.
Through and through. The whole car is a BMW. The badge is maybe made by Toyota. Maybe.
Yeah. But it's all BMW.
And I have a love-hate with BMW. So I had E92.
Mm-hmm. I think it's better, though, because Toyota was I guess, had their input. BMW is known for too many moving parts, I would say.
I think BMW, if you were to buy a car brand new, you're not going to buy a better car for the first 60 to 80,000 miles in a BMW, in my personal opinion.
I could say that, yes.
And I think that they don't really build for longevity. I think that they want it to be great for that specific amount of time. Whereas Japanese, I think that they are like, we want your children's children
own this fucking car.
This Camry, like we want you to have this. And I think that's the different mindset. And, people might get mad, may not be
I'm sure they
opinion, will. But, and for that reason, like I would never again buy an older BMW because everything's made of plastic. Everything's made of rubber. They love petroleum. And stuff
the interior plastics is very bad.
Stuff melts, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's I mean, I think every time I would replace a part on my E92, it's like it was a hidden code. Something else would break immediately.
Yeah.
Like immediately.
Even my Volkswagen was that way. My Jetta, it's just every German car I've come in contact with, they always have issues once they get up past 100,000 miles, I'd say.
I think that's what it is. And it's a challenge for me because I think BMWs, as far as steering feel and response, unparalleled. Whatever they do for their power steering to have the amount of weight that they have, and the directness is unmatched.
And it doesn't feel like gritty like most steering feels do. Even the new, like I drive a lot of newer ones nowadays.
Yeah.
Just with my line of work, but I mean the power steering on them, like it just floats, man. They drive insanely well.
I think they've taken some critique from the past of knowing what doesn't work and how people have responded and kind of adjusted. But then they've got some great body styles over the time. But the A90, I think, and it might not be a fair comparison. I did not purchase that vehicle stock, right? Like
that's very,
and I haven't done any engine work to it. It makes 545 wheel, 673 foot-pounds of torque. Just did the RK titanium single exit. It's intake exhaust, ECU tech tune by Mike Body. I think it's like the fastest Supra in the quarter, which is insane. And I think that's really about it.
Wow.
And meth, yeah.
And it still makes over 5. Yeah. What are they? Do you know what they are stock?
3. Well, mine's a 2020, so mine is the year that can be unlocked and tuned, where I think the newer versions, and it's the older head design where they're 2-port versus a 4-port, if I'm not mistaken. So they apparently make less power, you know what I mean, when modded.
Yeah.
But it's that car.
So strange.
It's a whole package. I mean, the traction, and this is unfair because all my cars, are in the 90s, early 2000s, and it's all old tech, but the traction control is unbelievable. You can change it between, traction mode, which it literally finds grip out of nowhere. But it doesn't. It's a normal traction control, right? You turn on traction control, you punch it, it pulls power.
Yeah, just goes into limp mode basically.
Yeah, kind of. This car doesn't do that. It literally, you flat foot it, and it just goes. It just sticks and goes. It's almost like
it has proper traction control.
It's like someone put slicks on it. But they did. And then you change it to no traction, and then you flat foot it, and it just roasts through 4 gears.
That's insane.
It's still manageable.
Wow,
they're amazing.
All right, so
tangent.
Yeah. Sorry, we got off there a little bit, but so okay, what do you actually do for a living then, other than flip cars?
So before I worked at Discount Tire. I worked at Discount Tire for 11 years. And
you still keep that damn tent around.
I sold the tent.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Dude, you've been using that thing for fucking years.
A black, just Amazon tent now. But I sold the tent to Brennan.
Oh,
Brennan
okay.
Daniels. Yeah, he's like the Watto in Star Wars. You know what I mean? He's got like the junkyard of parts. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's very good. You know, he's that guy. So
most definitely,
he's amazing.
I've been trying to get him on for so long, but he's so busy.
No, he's a good cat. I think he's got a kid now and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, he always reminds me of Watto, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you need a T14 hyperdrive, yes? Like, you know what I mean? Like, every time. I mean, if you have one, oh, yes, I do.
Yeah, that's definitely his mentality.
Yeah, so what we were talking about.
So what do you actually do for a living? Like, what's your primary
So
line
Discount
of work?
Tire for 11 years. And I would work like 65 hours a week, Chinese overtime, and flip on the side. And then more recently, so for the last 2.5 years, I worked for Infinity, the car dealer, as an advisor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I really like that. I mean, I get an office, leather chair.
White collar stuff.
Yeah, it's nice. I get fat. You know what I mean? I get
you get to sit there and eat chips all day.
Yeah, I mean, in YouTube, I can watch FD, and you know what I mean? So it's good.
That's how I was at the dealership doing that job.
I mean,
sitting there editing on one screen, watching YouTube on the other.
Yeah, whereas before, previous job, like, you have to like run to the restroom real quick to check your phone. Like I would sell stuff on Marketplace, and I would go to my phone and have like 500 messages, and I have to like reply to them as fast as possible. And then like someone's knocking on the door, true. You know what I mean? You're like,
I need in, I got a shit.
1 minute, you know what I mean? Yeah, and then so that was always tough. And I would have to put in my ads like, if I don't reply to you, it doesn't mean I'm ignoring you. You know what I mean? Like I work 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Like I'm unavailable and I can't talk on the phone. And yeah.
So has most of the money flow from your primary job transferred over to flipping cars? Is that how you kind of funded that?
I used basically my job as the basic foundation to pay my bills, right? Mm-hmm. And then the flip cars, I would then just use that money for putting into other flip cars and building the car base. You know what I mean? And then thankfully, due to internet and hype, the cars that I chose,
they get a lot of attention.
Well, they increased in value exponentially.
Well,
so
that's very true.
Yeah, I didn't choose a lot of I don't know, Geo Metros or something. You know, S chassis are huge, and I think we usually have 5 to 8 of those at a time.
Do you still have your the S14, the cookie front,
the Blurple one?
Yeah,
I do not.
Whatever happened to that car? That was like your iconic car.
Yeah, that's just the staple car, I guess. So that car, might be giving away too many details here. So I don't like to discuss like how much I purchase cars for and then sell.
Oh yeah, you don't
people
have
are
to
like,
do that. Yeah.
Oh, what did you really?
People start looking at you like you're shady and shit.
No, yeah, well they would just be like, or people I sold to, and they'd be like, I thought I was getting a good deal. But so I picked up that car.
Business.
A gentleman named Keaton Gibson owned that car before the owner that I bought the car from. Super rad dude, Jay-Z guy, always run like a the Jimmy up, you know, gold sticker on the corner. So, and I bought that car from the dude that he sold it to. Whenever he sold it, it stopped running. So I look for stuff like that has massive potential, but needs a wiring harness or
and I'm sure like the little things that obviously go wrong in certain scenarios.
Eventually
so
learn
that stuff.
Yeah. And like for me, like wiring specialties, of course, I would always just buy a harness. You know, you get people just hack jobbing and just using those, those little spin ties. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't a house.
Crimp them and shit.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
So junk, stop using those.
Yeah, so I got that car not running. And I got it for either $2,500 or $3,500. So kooky RB25 swapped.
No way.
Yeah, beautiful pull on the rear fenders. Fresh paint. Actually, the paint was like a year old. Starfire blue. They repainted it.
That was a good color. I always loved it.
I love Starfire blue. It's good stuff. BN6 paint code.
Well, there you go.
And that car, I just basically did more drift events with that. That's what it kind of got me more into drifting. I drifted the black hatch, the RB20 hatch that I swapped. a couple events, but then it lost oil pressure, and I don't really remember why, but I kind of fizzled out. I didn't want to replace the oil pump.
Gotcha.
And I think it was that whole RB short crank snout issue.
Yeah, I can see that.
I didn't want to get into all of that. Couldn't weld, still can't weld. And
right here too, baby. It'll stick, but it don't look pretty.
Yes. What kind of zip tie? You know? Yeah. But that's, I think, what, pushed me towards RBs. And so crazy story actually on the blurper car when I went to buy it. So I'm messaging the guy and he stops replying to me, right? And this is like 2 days before I actually purchased the car. Mm-hmm. There was a guy who made a post on like S Chassis page or something like that on Facebook and was like, hey, I'm about to purchase this car. What is your guys' opinion on it? And it was literally the car that I was going to buy.
Oh, fuck.
So, and it was a Volvo car. So I messaged the guy again. I'm like, hey, I'll give you, $200 more. Like, can I meet you now? And he's
trying to beat his ass to it.
He messaged me and he's like, yeah, come get it. So
money talks, baby.
Yeah, I felt kind of bad later, like the guy who was messaging, like, don't put it out there. You're gonna buy it.
Yeah,
there may be some snakes in the grass. You know what I mean? snag it up. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, it turned out good. That car was great. I did like 35 events in that car.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean, I've tandem with you in that car multiple times. There was one time at Clarksville that last minute we decided to tandem, and some dude jumped in behind us. I don't remember who it was, but you had spun right on the downhill.
Oh, thank you.
And well, not to call you out, no, not to call you out, but I mean, you kind of I barely fucking stopped it in time.
I remember that.
It was. I saw your face as staring at me as you spun around, and I'm like, no.
I did like the Japanese apology, like, I'm so sorry. Like, thank you so much for not hitting me. So I used the little hammer-on little e-brake push-in thing, and it got stuck up. Yeah, so loop, oof.
Yeah, that'll get you.
That's funny. That's wild. Thank you for remembering that and not crushing it.
Got you.
At Clarksville, actually, that car got totaled.
Oh.
Completely totaled.
While you were driving it?
Yep. My brother in the passenger seat is coming to visit from Oklahoma, and we're drifting, and a driver who we've smoothed things over now, but at the time, kind of a quarrel maybe, and he maybe intentionally spun, maybe. He hadn't spun like the whole time, right? And then we're entering, and it's funny that you mentioned vice versa. We're entering, and he spins, and he was kind of in a crap car, and just right in front of me. I just initiated and literally nowhere to go. Just bam, smash.
Yeah, everything happened
broken
too quick
kooky
at that
headlights.
time.
The whole totaled front end.
Yeah.
His car fared really well, surprisingly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was tough.
What kind of car was it?
It was a Zinky.
Oh, so
it was a KA Zinky.
Oh.
Yeah, this is sad.
That's surprising.
Getting. Yeah, I think it was just how we hit, and he was stopped. I had the momentum, so my front end just crushed.
Whenever ours happened, I had kind of slept on the line, so I was a little bit further back already, so that kind of helped.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's tough, and you always feel so bad. It's drifting. Stuff's gonna break. You know what I mean? Like you got to know it. Go and know you're gonna crash, but it's always learning. You know what I mean? Getting where you feel comfortable and tandeming where you feel comfortable. So, but yeah, I mean that was a good car. Sad to get rid of that. That is sad to see. I sold it to GS Drift Deals.
Yeah.
So my wife had an HRZ, and we sold them as a pair to GS Drift Deals. And
if you guys don't know who GS Drift Deals is, he does a lot of giveaways on drift cars and all sorts of really cool cars that are in the area.
Rad guys.
Yeah. I mean, it's consistent. And if it's not cars, it's parts, it's all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. There's like a hype man, and then there's the guy who like does all the books and Cody Terry. And it's just the nicest guys. They're on it all the time. They don't ever sleep.
Yeah. I won the what was it? It was like 4 years ago. They did parts at dealer's cost for an entire year on one New Year's, and I won that. And that was like literally a month before I started the RB swap.
Okay,
so it was perfect, and they were some of the coolest people to deal with the entire time.
I mean, it's wild. You know that a bunch of people are messaging them. You know they're busy looking for cars, and you message them because they sell stuff. at a good price. You know what I mean? They give you good deals. And I would message like, hey, I need this for the JZX. And they'd be like, yeah, sure. Here's the price.
Yeah, what you need.
Sick. Let's order it up. And yeah, I mean, just awesome dudes. Awesome dudes.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we drove the Z down because they're not super far away from me, and trailered the Kooky, and it's like battle damaged, you know what I mean? And I just shine it, you know what I mean?
What did they end up doing with it? Did they fix it or?
I mean, it's just drift stuff, you know what I mean? Just fiberglass stuff like that. I mean, it was whole, you know.
Yeah,
but they just raffle them off, and the Z is in Canada now, which is crazy. Shit. Yeah.
Why?
Well, the guy Marco Zek, I think is his name. He's won like 3 times.
Oh.
Yeah. And
fuck.
Yeah, so he's got the Z now, and I think some other cars.
You missed that car? It was the 1JZ, right?
No, so I sold the one. So that was the white HRZ that my wife had.
Fuck, it's hard to keep up.
I know, it's a lot. The 1JZ I sold recently.
Why'd you get rid of that one?
It's sad. So that car was amazing. And I did mid-pond in it a lot because for the gear ratio and the power band, like 1JZ VVTI just got down. You know what I mean? Didn't need anything. Beat it off limiter. It's happy. Oh, like I'd let that car sit for 6 to 8 months, and I have those little quick oh my goodness, gotta edit that out. I got those quick
You did it again.
Quick
gotcha, bitch.
Disconnects.
Jeez.
On the negative terminal. My goodness. And you can disconnect the battery.
Yeah.
Right? And I have them on all my cars because they sit. I would let that car sit for 6 to 8 months. I would put the disconnect back on, and I would just crank it up, and it just one
fire
JZ
right
idle,
up.
no valve train noise. You know, needs nothing.
Yeah.
Just drift me, park me, drift me, and so a friend of mine saw your house, not like drove by and seen your house, but saw your house is his name.
Oh wow,
super.
Oh, that just threw me off so bad. I was like, wait, hold on.
Super
what do you
cool
mean by that?
Yeah, like you've seen my house.
Yeah.
No, super cool guy. He just made me a damn good offer, and he bought my friend's car too. So if you know Cole Williams slides on Instagram, he had a super dope Brickyard Z kitted, like super stylish. Just
yes, I do remember that. Yeah.
He ran the final style, like side skirt.
Yeah.
Thank you. And he bought that car from him, and then he kept like messaging me all the time. Hey, let me get the 1JZ. Let me get the 1JZ. And he just made me a hell of a deal. And I just, I was like, all right, I'll let it go.
Yeah. That was actually that I would say that was the first car I noticed at my first event.
Really?
So MIR in Memphis. That was my first event. And it actually ended up snowing that day.
Oh my goodness.
It was bad.
So this is a hangover.
Stupid cold.
Stupid cold.
Yeah. It was that stupid
fest.
cold.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might be mixing up events, but I had the Blurple car and I just put a new fuel cell in it and it was still leaking. That car had issues with like just spraying fuel out the back. I don't know how it never caught on fire. Jeez. And I siliconed it and I thought I used just a little bit.
Yeah.
Apparently I used the whole tube. Or it expands in gasoline, I guess. Turns into the Michelin Man inside the fuel tank. So I was literally in the freezing cold, my hand in the fuel, like getting all the RTV out.
Oh, man.
And spent like the whole event doing that. But it's still a super fun event. I think I got like one run in at the end, actually full run where the car didn't cut out.
Yeah.
I still had a great time. Like we pull up and it's snowing.
Oh, that was an insane event. It was like sleeting whenever I first got there. But whenever I was loading the car up, it was like a blizzard almost.
Yeah, it was wild. It was.
I couldn't get the car on the trailer hardly.
It turned into water too, and I had to park the trailer like over a mini pond. So like when I pulled the car out, the ramps were trying to float away.
Yeah,
in the water. But
that's hilarious.
It made for an incredible event. Like I was freezing to death, but you can't. It had like the heater didn't work great.
Yeah.
So like no defrost. So like I'm trying to like look out the side window, like coming up on the face. It made it.
My defrost sucked on that event. It was foggy the whole time.
It was it was life.
Yeah.
It was good.
So this one's kind of like worldly based. So with the way like the world is kind of going to shit, where do you where do you see cars and stuff like that going and drifting? People getting into drifting. How difficult do you think it'll be?
So clearly newer chassis, I think eventually will take over A90s, stuff like that. But I guess I could see everything going electric, EPA getting super strict.
Do you really though?
Taking the
power grid and everything?
I mean, I think that they're. Do I think electric cars will eventually be drift cars? Perhaps.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that'll happen. I mean, no. Isn't there some dude with a Tesla that has?
I'm sure.
I think it's fake though. I think
I've seen the fake video, the one with like the Jay-Z in it.
Yeah,
I'm
not gonna lie, that one got me when I first saw it.
I'm like, dude, if you can, I mean, I think there's a Hellcat swap one. You know what I mean? Like people do that stuff, but I mean, I think that chassis will become certainly more rare. Prices will go up. I don't think people will stop drifting though, unless they literally legitimately force us to stop. You know what I mean?
I don't mean necessarily stop. I just mean like what I advocate for is for like just the average person, just do what you can to get into drifting. Like work with what as minimal as you can. But I mean, last time I bought tires for drifting was like 3 years ago. So, wow. I mean, I was getting Kendas, 255 Kendas for like $70, $80 a tire.
Yeah.
So like now everything's just drastic and it just keeps getting worse.
Yeah.
It seems like it's going to be more of a luxury sport.
Yeah, I guess I could see that. I mean, I think we'll find a way to make it evolve where people who don't have as much money can drift. But one of the changes that happened in my life was whenever I had the Blurple car, right? And it was nice pre getting totaled. And I like rolled up on 3-piece crayons. Style is important. And I like jacked up the car and I like put like STRs on it to drift. You know what I mean? And I got out and then I totaled the car. And then after that, I'm like, man, if it's going to make me happy, I'm going to fucking drift on 3-piece wheels. You know what I mean? Like,
dude. Yes.
I may not have the money if one breaks, but I want it to look good and I want to have fun.
Yeah.
And I want it to be, I guess, not fucking pussyfooting around. You know what I mean? I just want to put the nicest shit on I can and drift it.
Yeah, you want the way you drive to look as good as the car does.
I mean, and you can get another car, you can get more wheels, just work harder to obtain it, but have fun with what you got.
Yeah, I think there's just a mentality block for most people on that aspect. They don't want to work for it.
Yeah.
They just want shit handed to them, fucking bums.
What's never got me is, I may be getting out of pocket, but running like a bunch of like STR wheels and stuff like that, and then being like, oh well, I run these wheels because they're plentiful, and if I break one, it's not as expensive. Like, but your car looks like shit. You know, it's everyone has their different style, and I'm not gonna, you know.
I know some of you motherfuckers are going to say that's an ego thing. I don't give a flying fuck. I mean, if you want your car the way you want it, and that's it. If you want it to be a load of shit on track, go for it, whatever.
Like,
but
I'm not lowering my car because it'll hurt my fenders. Like, my wheels shape my fenders. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You lower the car and let the fenders sort themselves out.
Be a real man.
Yeah, like
let the fenders work itself.
Yeah, I mean, it's style first for me. As I think it should be, because would you ever go to a car show if it was just stock?
Absolutely not.
Cavaliers and shit. No. So why would you go to the racetrack and a drift event to look?
That's
at
the first thing people
height?
Bitch at as soon as they get to the meet is, oh, what is this car doing here? Yeah. This is a fucking Impala.
Yeah, I mean that's for me. Like I want to look good and I want it to sound good and then perform well. In that order. Like, but I you know, people would be like, oh, if you raise your car, it'll drive better. If you run a meteor tire, you have more grip. And I mean, I'm not here to compete.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to have fun, and I want to like look at the media later and be like, yes. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's
exactly.
Sick.
It's for the pictures. I mean? Like, it's for the videos.
If I get a picture back and I can see the entire daylight underneath the car, I'm like, nah, that's not it. Like, we gotta get a different angle, or my car's gotta get lower. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I get pictures from a photographer, and if I see daylight under it, I failed.
Damn, that's one like, fucking crazy way to look at that.
And then, of course, there's people that are crazy low, like Tony, VQ35 Tony.
Yeah. I'm trying to get him on soon.
He's a low disciple. Like the man,
I don't understand it.
And he drives like his car. He should put.
I helped him pick his angle kit just for his fitment because so on a Z, like almost every single angle kit you buy, either pokes your wheels out 50 millimeters, one looks goofy as shit, which it fucking works great. I understand you'd have to get overs, blah blah blah. But me personally, I love stock body fenders. Yes. I love it.
Yes.
Stock metal is the way.
Stock metal is the way.
So GK Tech Super Lock kit is the only kit on the market for Zs that will give you enough camber and still keep it to where you can run stock fenders.
Yeah. That's what I ran on the 1JZ.
Yeah.
It feels like butter.
Oh, they're fucking amazing, man.
Yeah.
I'm at like 7 degrees of camber. And I could probably get another degree or so out.
Yeah.
But I'd be pushing it.
No, I dig GK Tech stuff. And the install videos are hilarious. Like the guy is amazing. And it's funny, not to get on a different subject, but I bought that wide IS and then I did the real deal super knuckle kit or whatnot from Easy Knuckles. And on YouTube, they tell you to go to this video. It's not a GK Tech video, but that guy literally is Dan Brockett.
Yeah.
He does the install video for the IS for the other hilarious brand, and I'm like, yes, it's fantastic. So, good stuff.
So speaking of style,
yes,
Sotairu. Yeah. Love that. Explain the final style stuff. Like I have no idea what you're talking about, and kind of what your significance is to it.
So for me, I was big into Final Fantasy when I was a kid. You know.
Yeah.
I dig it. And then the style of cars that is old retro JDM that you see at Final Bout, right? So you got just the pinnacle, the summit, the coolest cars, the raddest dudes getting down. And what's better than kind of putting those things together? I wanted that style, like Final, and then style. So you
just style. That's just kind of like your own brand. Then you just kind of made that up yourself.
And so I wanted something simple. And at the time, I was looking for more means of income, more sources of income. Is never a bad idea. And now I actually pay more money to run the brand than I make. Yeah. But it's good, and because I haven't really pushed it, I just wanted to have it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it kind of pushes itself on being on the cars and stuff, and the cars catch the attention anyways.
Like the aesthetic. I mean, it's just simple stuff.
So what all do you sell exactly? Is it just like basically merch?
Yep, I just some shirts and then some stickers. Just super simple. Just designed the website. 2020 was when I designed everything, and yeah, I mean, I just wanted it to be something simple and something people could look at and be like, yeah, that looks good.
Register you without your name.
I want to wear that.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Well, that makes more sense because I've always actually wondered that. I've never really genuinely knew, but I see it all the time, and not only on your cars but other cars. So
yeah, it kind of honors me that people like when I first started selling the stuff, like people in other countries were like buying stuff, I was shipping stuff out, paying more in shipping than what they purchased for it, and
that's what I was doing with my Lost Soul thing. Yeah,
I mean, it's cool to see other people running that stuff, and it's amazing. I really enjoy that aspect. And for Final Style, like I have like spots where like I want the sticker to be like BH World. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't put a BH World anywhere, but like on your taillight or
on your side skirt.
Kino Satsukawa, like or Akino, what was. Anyway, Abo Moon, like you wouldn't put an Abo Moon sticker anywhere but on your right rear taillight. You know what I mean? You wouldn't put a Final Style sticker anywhere but like on
your shit, window. Motherfuckers.
So.
And don't be one of those monster sticker people.
I have yet to get a Satsukawa sticker, so if you're listening, Abo, please bestow upon me.
Let's get him. We want him. Come on.
Can I make a petition for one? Yeah.
Right.
He liked a picture of the R32 though.
On the Final Bout stuff, do you ever have any plans of going and driving up there?
I would absolutely love to drive Final Bout.
Why haven't you yet? You've got the cars for it.
You've got to have a team. and I think so Cole Williams is working on his coupe.
Nice.
I owned it at one time, and it unfortunately died. But he's making that thing super legit. And I think the Wide IS that I have now, I want to turn it into a full main drift car. And then
I love those cars.
I would love to do Final Bout. Nothing would make me happier.
That's like the pinnacle for me.
Yeah,
if I make it to Final Bout, that's how I know.
Yeah,
I accomplished what I wanted to in drifting.
Getting accepted to drive Polecat a couple months ago was
no way.
Was wild to me. Yeah.
When's that supposed to be?
Well, they had the event in March. Some really incredible drivers. Rich White Man drove his PS13 there and rode along with me, and I rode with him, and like.
I bet that was surreal.
Oh, it was super awesome. I bought his chaser.
No shit.
Japan. Not the one in Japan. So the one at Abisu. I own that, and it's rotting away. He actually messaged me.
They all are. It's fine.
Yeah, he messaged me because like all of his friends are there, and I'm pretty sure he wanted to buy it back. But I eventually. So COVID happened. We were planning a trip to Japan, and I had some money saved up for Japan. Because I was going to buy a car there, drift to Abisu and visit. And COVID happened literally 2-3 weeks before our flight. So everything got canceled. And then I used that money to buy the R32 here in the States and built a sim rig. Because I'm like, if I can't drive in Japan,
I'm going to fucking drive it somehow.
I'm going to drive online. You know what I mean? In a Seto. And sad. But next year, 2024, is we'll be going to Japan.
That's another bucket list for me sure, man.
When I got hired on, I literally told them I will be going to Japan at some point, and I will be gone for probably a month. Choose to fire me if you want to.
Do as you wish.
I'm going to Japan.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting on that. The wife's been wanting to go too, and
I'm sure you're both itching.
Yeah, I mean, food, people, just culture is.
The R32 though. So I wanted to touch on that a little bit because that is like my ideal dream car.
Okay.
For me, sedans are just dude, primo.
Yeah.
Sedans are the best, and then the 32 body style just tops it off.
I like the 32 the best.
I know you said you used Japan money and stuff to get that, but like, how did you find that car?
So crazy story. Mid Pond has just like their own page. Mm-hmm. And a guy posted on Mid Pond's page, but I don't think it was actually posted in Marketplace. It was just posted in Mid Pond's page as Nissan. And it was literally the Skyline.
What the fuck?
Right?
I hate when people do that shit.
Yeah,
man.
But I mean, because of that, I don't think it reached a lot of people. And it was just meant to be. And it wasn't that far away. The guy owned like a buy here, pay here lot. It was literally at the buy here, pay here lot as like his car. And like I got a crazy deal for it. But I think the previous owner before him, it was in a field in Alabama. And it was literally just baking in the sun. So to go back even further, the guy who owned it before him was the one who kind of did a lot of the work to the car. His name is Mike Midietti.
I've heard that name before.
So
I remember seeing pictures of it beforehand, where on the actual ad.
Okay. So it used to be Championship Blue, and that's when he owned it. It was RB20 at the time. I think he did some drift events. It still has the same extended lowers on it that he cut and welded. But the guy is like he did a lot of fab work, and he lives in Florida, and he was like a pit guy for Juha Rittinen, and like I don't know if he owned Juha Rittinen's car in FD, but then he worked for like Nick Castleberry for Clutch Kickers.
Oh, that's cool.
And he's had a lot of cool cars, but I think he traded it for a truck.
Oh wow!
And
I guess
then that guy,
a tow rig or some shit. Probably.
Yeah, that guy didn't do much with it, and it's like let it sit. The guy was like a collector of cars, kind of like me, but he just let it sit, didn't do anything with it, and then sold it to I guess the guy who I bought it from. So it's been through a lot of owners. It probably had a really long life in Japan. super long, like, you know, just
probably got beat to
Japanese
shit in Japan.
Well,
Yeah,
no, I mean, I think it was like stock RB20. You know what I mean? Like it was just a 4-door. It was probably just like grocery car,
probably and taxi or some shit.
Yeah,
something
taxi,
stupid.
Yeah, exactly. But that car has been great. I basically just got it. I spent like a week solid just cleaning it up, decluttering the engine bay, getting things powder coated, things cleaned up. I bought it RB25 Neo already swapped. Someone did a timing service on it, and they left the little washer that presses against the belt at the bottom where the pulley goes on, and that actually like keeps the belt in place. So they forgot that piece, and the belt was rubbing on the pulley, rubbing on the cover, making a crazy noise, barely hanging on, about to fly off, and then grenade the engine, bend the valves. And I got it for a good deal. It was open gate with no dump tube, just open gate in the bay. So it melted a spot in the hood, melted the firewall. Yeah, it was rough.
So did you already know the issues going into it?
Not really, but I think I got it. I got it for a steal.
Yeah,
for what I paid, you know, for what they go for now, and just cleaned it up. The crazy thing is Mike Miglietti, he painted the car midnight purple, the body, and I got the car with the B&N kit, like not painted or anything.
I didn't know that.
It had coupe taillights on it that they try to retrofit coupe taillights on. So they bought a coupe bumper. They bought a coupe B&N kit, or no, they had to have bought a coupe rear bumper. And then the normal B&N kit for 4-door, so the longer skirts.
Yeah.
So it still has a coupe rear B&N kit bumper on it.
What the hell?
Yeah, and I went back.
You can't even tell.
You can if you look at it. Yeah, so if you look at the rear bumper where the rear tire meets the rear bumper, you see that it's not long enough.
Oh,
yeah, like there's like this much of the body of the car that's showing, like it's not long.
Damn.
Yeah, and I found that the tail lights, the sedan tail lights for $100 shipped from Florida, like a good deal there. And I kind of just putting that car together and making it clean. But the Nissan either doesn't release it anymore, or it's just not readily available for the Midnight Purple 3. So Mike Miglietti had to like mix up his own to make it, to paint it that color. So I found the closest possible paint. Which I shall call Midnight Purple 4. There's actually a little bit of teal in it.
Your own spice now.
Yeah, and my good friend Gavin, who owns S3 Auto Work, he painted the kit, he painted the hood, and it literally, I just buffed the rest of the body.
Yeah.
The whole car wasn't painted at the same time. I just buffed the rest of the body. There's like 2 or 3 years difference.
So well. So what is like your top 5 bucket list? Whether it's you got to go do this, or you got to have this car, or whatever, just relative to drifting. What's your top 5 bucket list?
Top 5 bucket list for drifting. Final bout, number 1.
100%.
Definitely want to do final bout. I think bucket list ideally, like I want to be less self-focused, I guess. And I want to do more with friends. And I think getting a team together, you know, I spend a lot of time working on my own stuff, you know what I mean, in the shop, and I don't think I invest as much time in other people. So I think ideally I would like to do that, spend more time with friends, getting their cars set so we can have fun together. I think that would be kind of bucket list. I definitely don't want to compete because competition costs money, and then you take the fun out of it, I think. Yeah, there'll be excitement. But you don't get to drive as much.
You get the adrenaline and the excitement,
but I drift to enjoy life, and if I'm gonna put money into it, I want it to work for me, and I want it to make me happy. So
I agree on the not being around people as much. The wishing you want to do that, because that's definitely the hole I'm in. I'm so dead set focused on futures.
Yeah, I mean, you go through life as a kid, and you're forced to be around other kids, right? And you're forced to make good relationships, and then you get older and you get into your own thing, and you kind of kind of lose that a little bit unless you're full people person. Like for me, I knew where I wanted to be, so I was super self-focused.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's exactly how
you lose the friendship kind of aspect, you know what I mean? And I think it's kind of a struggle for me because it's difficult to say like, oh, I have 18 cars and not sound like a douchebag.
Oh yeah, I know.
Like,
it's crazy because like you're actually one of the most humble people I've met in drifting, but like I don't know, the style aspect and everything for me is what draws me to drifting. I feel like that's the purity of it.
Yep.
And that's where everything lies. I don't know.
Agreed. Yeah, so like when I'm at work, I try not to let any person I come in contact with know that I own cars.
Yeah.
Or any of that. Like I just
want to not do that part.
And then there'll be of course work people, they'll find out as far as people I work with, but like customers and stuff like that, I don't want them to know.
Have you ran into any scenarios where you've told someone and like just had a very awkward situation?
So I've ran into scenarios where they've discovered my Instagram and they've matched the name and they've been like, what the hell? Like I had a he's a really
You're
cool
a superstar.
Guy. Well, I had a really cool guy that I was helping out for a while who had an Infinity and I never told him I was into cars and all that. And then like I go to a meet and he's like, dude,
like, what the fuck?
Why did you never tell me? Like you literally have a car addiction. And I'm like, I have a bad car addiction. And I don't know. Like,
does an alcoholic tell you he's an alcoholic? No.
Man, maybe, but yeah, I enjoy kind of keeping that stuff separate and kind of being personal with that. And I'm not like a conspiracy theorist, but I'm kind of a nut when it comes to like giving out too much information online. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why because I wanted to do YouTube for a while.
Yeah, you started a YouTube channel a long time ago, and you got like 5 videos or so up. But
I did. So I want to do YouTube. The editing is so much work, and I had a guy who was editing for me, which was really really nice, and he did some small portions, but like the usability of a phone now is astronomical. Like you can make a quick Instagram video in like a minute.
Yeah.
I get on the computer.
Now with all this AI stuff, I mean, it almost does it all for you.
I mean, maybe even that. Like I use a computer whenever I was doing YouTube, and I don't know how people like Adam LZ, like people like that do have the time to edit and to do all. It's astounding to me how much time it takes to just make one good 10-minute video.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
I spent literally yesterday, I was editing Scotty D's vlog. And I spent, I think it was a total of 6 to 7 hours editing that entire vlog. It's about insane. 30 minutes. It's a 30-minute vlog. Like it's a long vlog. It's very elaborate. Like there's a lot of editing in it, but it's time consuming for sure. Oh my goodness.
It's so much
You really have to love it.
Yeah. I just wanted to be like, let me shoot what I'm doing and let me pay you and not money somehow for you. Someone to do my editing.
What can I give you?
Yeah,
like I mean, yeah, it's just how you work. See, because I had that same fucking dream, dude, and I was doing my own personal channel, but I was broke as a fucking bag of dirt, so I was like, I'm forced to figure this out, and I've been studying YouTube and studying editing for like 6 years now, and I mean, it's just now I could say I'm a relatively decent editor.
Yeah, I mean the videos look great. It's so crazy how much goes into editing. Like in order to make a 10-minute video, you're spending an entire day, or I would. And I was using the Adobe Premiere or something like that,
and
Premiere Pro. Yeah, and for me, it's not intuitive. I'm not a very intelligent person.
It's very intimidating when you first look at it.
And I'm watching these videos like. Oh, that meme thing where it's they create like
yeah.
Like I watched a video on just how to make one of those.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what?
Unreal.
I would spend a month
Some of these car videos on like TikTok and Instagram and stuff where they do all the like the light tricks and stuff where the badge jumps off and all that crazy shit. Dude, that's a whole different ballgame. That's all in After Effects. Like that shit probably for a 30-second video probably takes them 7 hours, 6 hours.
It's insane.
It's fucking
It's enough
wild,
for me to like
dude.
post a picture on Instagram, and I don't filter anything anymore, but in the past I would be like, add some sepia, you know, vignette or whatever, however you even pronounce those words, and
opacity and vignette,
all that stuff. Yeah, like change all that. This is way too red. You know what I mean? Like post a picture of my wife, and she's like standing next to her S chassis, and she looks like Donald Trump. And she's like orange, you know what I mean? Because it's saturation. I like went overboard. You know?
Yeah, you just put the saturation, the clarity, the sharpness.
I'm sorry, Melody. You're amazing.
Didn't mean to. My bad.
Whoops.
Yeah, any of you guys out there looking to start a YouTube channel, know what you're getting into. Study the fuck out of it.
I feel like people.
It's more than you know.
I feel like people don't give them enough credit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even just to have a YouTube channel and to edit and post videos religiously, like it's so much work.
Even though, like back in the old days when YouTube was like starting to really pop off for vlogging, daily vlogs, dude.
Oh man,
absolutely not.
Insane.
Especially in the car world.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money you're spending just to stay relatively interesting.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, just the editing time is. How do you life?
Yeah. Well, let's get your best advice for anyone getting into drifting.
Someone getting into drifting, I think the most important part is seat time, is suspension and seat time. Lower your car, get in a welded diff, and just drive. Like
simple as that.
That's it. I think that's the key. Or a sim. The sim is probably your best bang for your buck.
Especially nowadays with how good sims have gotten.
Oh my goodness.
And how responsive they are now.
But even just get to feel. So I cheated for Polecat whenever they invited me, and I'm like, yes, absolutely. And I'm like, I'm going to bring 3 cars. And they're like, oh, okay.
Sounds good.
I got on like Aceto's Facebook page and I'm like, who can build this track?
Yeah.
And a guy named Jack Dunlop helped like liaison that. But a guy like ended up building the track. And so I got to like drift on Polecat that never been drifted on ever before the actual event. So I kind of had a little bit of a leg up on.
Did they resemble it well with like elevation changes?
Super close.
Anything like that?
Yeah. Well, you learn the layout because a lot of Polecat is blind corners. I mean, you're coming up, and you just got to know where you got to position the car, or else because there was a lot of nasty wrecks too.
Yeah. I'm sure there.
Yeah. I mean, but there was incredible drivers. I mean, there's like 80 drivers, and they were all out of my league. You know what I mean? Like,
why am I here?
Yeah, I just want to do a corner.
All right, well, go ahead, plug your people, plug yourself, anything.
I don't have much to plug. www.finalstyle.jp, the website for the clothing and all that, which is
.jp, love that.
Is a legitimate Japanese website. I had to prove that I live in Japan and have a Japanese phone number. In order to get a .jp website. So,
I didn't know it was like that.
Oh, it's like that. At least for the way I went through it. So, yeah.
How the fuck?
I know. People, thank you.
I got the connections, baby.
So that's Final Style's website. Instagram is just my name, just Jackson_Saxon. You can check out all the old Japanese piece of shits.
It'll be in the description.
Yeah. That's about it. I mean, wife, she's amazing. I got to give her all the credit for getting me.
She's a badass.
She is awesome.
Yeah.
She's fine. She loves cars, and yeah, we just met.
She's at every fucking event, dude.
Yeah, she's
every event.
Rides. She wants to drift, but she's got to get on that sim first.
Yeah. I mean, get the seat time on the sim first.
Got to.
And then we'll talk. But all right. Well, I sure do appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, man.
I know it's a decent drive for you, but how long was it actually?
An hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, that's not horrible.
No, it's not bad at all.
Cool.
My backyard.
Well, yeah. Well, that's it for this one, guys. Really do appreciate it. Don't forget, if you need a Wiring Specialties harness, go drop down in the description. But see you next week. Peace.
See you. Sick.
Hell yeah.
That's good. That's fun.